I think it would be rather uncontroversial to say that Minecraft is one of the most popular games to have ever existed. Since its release in 2011, it's consistently been one of the most searched games in the world, losing some of its popularity during the initial release of other games, but inevitably coming back to the #1 position. It's not hard to see why the limitless creativity of a game like Minecraft is impressive, to say the least. The initial release with simple building blocks really was something to behold, and then the introduction of redstone engineering really made an entirely new game. As time went forward, Minecraft itself continued to innovate, but it wasn't just the game, but its fans that would go on to create some of the most interesting experiences you could have. Fans would go on to create mods such as Skyblocks, which sees you starting on a small island, trying to build out a kingdom with relatively few resources. Fans would take the redstone engineering and be able to create exceptionally unique features, including entire music boxes inside of Minecraft itself. Some went on even to create entire video games, though short-lived ones, within Minecraft's redstone engineering. Honestly, if I wanted to praise a game for being truly magical, both within itself and within interaction with the players, you could pretty much just point to Minecraft as the best magic game out there. Though I'm sure some would argue a lot of it is based more so on principles of engineering or programming. But Minecraft also inspired the creation of several interesting and unique magic mods. Botania allows you to grow unique plants to generate mana to accomplish wondrous feats. Blood magic sees you exchanging souls and blood for spells. Both of these mods are pretty amazing and unique in themselves, but I think every other magic mod that I've encountered falls a little bit short in comparison to a third mod, which I've learned and come to love, called Thaumcraft. Thaumcraft is rather unique as a magic mod, because it comes with entire sets of mechanics, both positive and negative. It balances the new powers that it gives you with exceptionally high costs, and it might be one of the very few mods or games out there that could be said to get at least the spirit of Brandon Sanderson's 3 laws of magic. But, okay, what is Thaumcraft? Thaumcraft is a new tech mod. This means it introduces a new line of technology that you unlock progressively as you play the game. This one comes with a skill tree and a unique book, along with several new resources that are needed to unlock the beginning of the skill tree. Entire systems and subsystems are built for you to explore. Thaumcraft's unique abilities are broken down into 6 schools. There's the fundamentals and 5 unique schools of magic. Oromancy is the ability to cast spells personally, drawing energy from the aura around you to invoke unique abilities. Alchemy is the ability to take objects from the world and break them down into their fundamental aspects. Artifice is the ability to create unique, wondrous devices. Infusion is the ability to take existing devices and enchant them with abilities far beyond that of vanilla Minecraft. Gallimancy is the ability to create NPC workers and fighters to work for you. But let's revisit Sanderson's 3 laws, because I think this is pretty plainly seen throughout most, if not all, of Thaumcraft. So Sanderson's laws of magic are: the character's ability to resolve conflicts in a satisfying way with magic is directly proportional to how the player understands said magic. Now, I've minorly altered the wording here, but I think that this holds true for Thaumcraft in particular. You see, you have this unique tech tree that you have to slowly work your way through by using the systems. Advancement through the tech tree isn't locked to a progress bar, but a series of experiences. To advance through the Oromancy tree, you need to show that you understand different aspects of the world, venturing forward to the highest heights and the lowest depths, experiencing unique types of pain and elemental understandings, and of course, getting spit at by a llama. You see, unlocking additional abilities in each school of magic requires new experiences within that school of magic, experiencing just a touch of the next step before being able to fully move into it. And then, you actually have to stop, set aside, and study. And this, honestly, I think sort of plays into Sanderson's second law. Weaknesses are more interesting than powers. You see, unlike in a lot of other games that might use a similar system. For instance, Final Fantasy, with its blue magic system, where you draw power from your enemies. In Thaumcraft, you have the experience, but you can't use it until you stop and study it. You have to study the experience itself through the research book. Early on, you have to set yourself on fire, I believe, in order to progress in the Oromancy school. And after you do, you then have to go to the research table to study Oromancy. And in studying, you're also shown another unique weakness. That's right, the time cost of studying isn't enough, because Oromancy carries with it a second risk. Some knowledge is too much. But looking at this basic overview, I'd also like to look at Sanderson's third law of magic. Expand, but don't add. And I think Thaumcraft does this perfectly. You see, Thaumcraft, with every expansion of your power, expands on these 5 existing principles of Oromancy, of alchemy, of artifice, infusion, and gallomancy. And to a degree, each of those schools is an expansion on Oromancy, their core concept. Oromancy is the manipulation of the energy of the world. Think of this as the Force from Star Wars. Naturally, over time, one might get curious. What is the aura? Where does it come from? Can I recreate it? This is where alchemy comes in. Alchemy allows you to break down the natural world into essentia, its essential parts, drawing it back out of the material form and into the aura, and then allowing you to manipulate it. But what use is aerosolized dirt? I can't draw it back into Oromancy, but I can build wondrous new devices using this essential energy. Artifice, then. The natural expansion of artifice is to create whole new rituals, using new types of essentia that are discovered through the act of creating. So infusion it is. We erect an entire altar and several new technologies, simply to improve the devices we make with artifice. And then the final step that all wizards try to accomplish: the creation of life itself. Thaumcraft, for everything it does, doesn't just add new spells. It instead insists on adding new ways to experience its existing systems. I'd like to go back to Sanderson's second law here, though, because Thaumcraft isn't quite finished giving you weaknesses. Oh no. Another way Thaumcraft expands on Sanderson's second law of magic is now to add costs. What characters cannot do or must give up in exchange for power makes it more interesting. And this is where we have to talk about the risks of study and the risks involved with being a mage. If a mage were purely to stay operating within the aura, they might never notice the risks. One tempered by wisdom to operate in balance with nature might never come to notice that some of the things they can accomplish are wrong. Sure, they'd get subtle hints along the edges. The natural world, its aura, becomes drained by their presence. But things never lose their color. Sure, studying the aura means inviting in eldritch knowledge and corruption, but a tempered mage could easily turn that away. But what you can't turn away is when you go further. In alchemy, you begin to break down the natural world into its constituent parts. Hell, you begin to break down your creations into their constituent parts. In breaking down these objects into their constituent parts, though, if you were to leave it unused, something happens. The aura itself becomes disturbed. A thaumaturge can use a tool that the game refers to as the thaumeter in order to view the aura, and as you break down objects, and bits of those objects go unused, you'll see something building up in the world. A sort of magical smog, a pollution, flux. Flux can be seen as the inherent danger of mages. As you pour your personal will onto the world, it begins to pull the world apart. You burn natural entities for power, but then leave that power unused. You now risk the entire world. As flux builds up and overtakes the aura, rifts will appear in the atmosphere. The very world itself starts to pull apart, and magic comes through to try to claim the thing that would disrupt this peaceful world. By studying these rifts, you can learn new pieces of technology, expanding even more on the core magic principles. You can learn about natural plants that can absorb this flux. And you can learn wondrous new technologies to yourself try to fight the existence of flux. But after a time, you'll find the rifts build too fast, and they'll collapse. Reality will try to reassert itself, and something comes through. In my personal experience, most often, these things that come through are seeds of unreality, of a tainted reality, and they will spew their taint all over the world. Reaching, growing, festering, consuming everything. The fetid air put out by these seeds allows the growth of a corrupting force. A new form of life will spread. The seeds themselves gain new eyes, ears, hands, and fingers. And even if you were to destroy them, the land that they touched never quite goes back to being the same. There are other things that can come through those rifts. Like I said, the assertion of magic itself, small wisps of reality or of this unreality attempt to pull through and claim you. And as though the cost to the world wasn't quite enough, Thaumcraft isn't really done with you yet, because you see, the land itself is not all that can be corrupted by this taint. If it's allowed to spew forth its poison unchecked, it will come to corrupt everything. I've spent no small amount of time with these seeds of corruption, and I've come to see them enhance the strength of skeletons, zombies, and creepers, and even turn the villagers against me. You see, if a entity spends enough time within the area of the fetid air of corruption, they become taken by the taint, twisted and changed, though they still look like their old selves, covered in it, but they will become hostile to anything which invokes magic, and that means you. And honestly, if all of that didn't sound like enough, there is yet more cost to using or learning magic. Not just is there cost to the self in the time it takes to research. Not just is there pollution in the form of flux which corrupts the world. No, there's also a personal cost. A cost that's known as the warp. Warp accumulates in your character over time as you study magic, as you unlock new technology, and potentially even as you use magic itself. Certain effects change your perception of reality. They alter who you are, spawning illusory enemies, causing you to take damage when you cast spells, and even perhaps causing you to give in to darker tastes. All of this, every last one, feeds so well into Sanderson's laws of magic. Your ability to resolve the conflicts of the flux is directly proportional to both how you and your character understand the magical systems. And the weaknesses introduced to your character create much more tension than the things you can actually accomplish. I was on stream at one point trying to give people a tour of my mage's tower when I realized how few things I had really built to take care of so many problems. And those problems had come up so often. But this is what makes Thaumcraft interesting. My character frequently becoming a cannibal because I don't bother dealing with warp. Holes in reality all across the mage's tower because I'm burning things for Essentia constantly. Erecting massive structures all around my tower to attempt just a little bit to take care of the flux problem, though knowing that I can almost never fully resolve the problem with flux. This makes Thaumcraft a singularly unique experience as far as magic goes, because it doesn't just give you new powers. It isn't just building a factory using plants. It isn't just pouring will into an altar. There's so much more, and it compels you to do these things that you may have seen in other fantasy stories. Every one of these powers feels like a natural evolution. I am curious about magic. I want to know what these crystals do. I use the crystals on the bookcase as the book tells me, and I get a new marvelous type of magic. I use that magic and it starts to change my character. I start building these strange devices to try to learn, and by the time it starts causing me problems, I'm already invested, so I build more and more, newer machines, both to continue my learning and to deal with the problems my learning has created. If you're interested in magic in video games, as I am, I think you would be doing yourself a major favor by trying out Thaumcraft. This is, in my mind, the closest any game has gotten to a perfect magic system, and I'd be interested in seeing if you agree. Oh my god, it actually happened! We have a tainted creeper! Oh my god, look at it. That is goddamn horrifying. I didn't think it was gonna happen, and it didn't happen until after the recording was done. Hey there everybody, thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, make sure to go ahead and like the video and leave a comment letting me know what you thought. I am going to be looking for more games with unique and interesting magic systems. I'm going to be possibly looking into more Minecraft mods because I did mention Botania and blood magic. I've also learned about astral sorcery, so I might make a look into those three and any others that I can get suggestions on. If there are any games that particularly interest you, that you think would be interesting for me to take a look at the magic system, let me know down in the comments. And if you're interested in a continued exploration of magic in video games, why not subscribe for more content just like this? But that is going to be it for now. In the meantime, just remember, nobody's cares. Thank you very much and good night. We know this man's one weakness. Piddle on him! Piddle for your life! Just pee on the bad guy. Pee on the bad guy. Yes! Get pissed. Alright. We're going. We're just gonna go now.